is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
Now at 11, an arrest in Indy's latest homicide. Coming up, what we know so far about the suspect and his connection to the overnight killing. Plus, a complex problem is brewing in Zionsville. Some say the area needs more places for people to live. But could that new housing sacrifice some of the city's character? The news at 11 starts right now. And we begin this evening checking out your Storm Team 6 forecast. Take a live look outside high atop the Salesforce Tower downtown. A pretty nice evening here in Indianapolis. Storm Team 6 meteorologist Kyle Mounts is here. He's got what we can expect for the week ahead. Hey.
Yeah, and Trevor, we are closing out a beautiful Sunday across central Indiana where Storm Team 6 radar was quiet and still is tonight. Our skies mostly clear, and we're going to keep things dry right on into the day tomorrow. Our temperature, it's at 61 degrees. We've got very dry air in place. That humidity is only 41%, and our breeze has been out of the north at times around 15 miles per hour. That's starting to subside, but those two things are working together to continue to bring in some cool temperatures, especially as we look over the northern half of central Indiana right now. Temperatures already well into the 50s. Meanwhile, still at 68 in Bedford, 63 for you in Columbus. So as we go through the overnight, we'll continue to see those temperatures falling off here into the 50s, and I do think some areas are going to be into the 40s tomorrow morning. 46 degrees for you in Peru, 48 in Richmond, and 51 in Bloomington. So you may actually want to take along that jacket first thing tomorrow morning. Not going to need the umbrella in your Monday forecast. We'll round out that timeline in just a few minutes.
Chilly morning, Kyle. All right, thanks. We'll see you in just a bit. New tonight, Metro Police are trying to identify a woman who was found dead in a creek on the east side. Police were called around 5:30 this evening to a creek near Brookside Parkway South and North Sherman Drive. The woman was dead in the water by the time officers arrived. Right now, police say they don't suspect foul play. However, an autopsy will be conducted to determine what caused that woman's death. And that woman was the second person found dead in a body of water in central Indiana today. This evening, investigators in Morgan County are still working to identify a body found in the White River there. Emergency personnel were called around 10:45 this morning after a person spotted the body in the river near the State Road 144 bridge. Crews recovered the body a short time later. So far, that's all the information that authorities have released. And new tonight, just hours after the latest homicide in Indianapolis this year, police have made an arrest in the case. Metro Police say this man, Eric Middlebrook, faces a preliminary charge of murder. Middlebrook was arrested this evening for the shooting that happened around 1:30 this morning. That shooting happened near South Meridian and West South Streets. And the identity of the man who was killed has not yet been released by authorities, and police do believe this shooting was an isolated incident. And police are still investigating a homicide that happened less than 3 hours before that downtown shooting. Just before 11 o'clock last night, officers found a man with a gunshot wound at North Traub and West Michigan Streets on the west side of town. That shooting victim also later died. So far, police have not released any possible information on a suspect in that case. And new tonight, police in Lafayette are investigating a shooting that sent a 16-year-old to the hospital. Police were called around 11 this morning to an area near South 24th and Central Streets. Officers say the boy was shot in the leg and is expected to recover. Detectives think the teen was shot after a dispute between two groups of people involving both adults and juveniles. So far, police say witnesses are not cooperating with that investigation. And also new this evening, at least 10 people are out of their homes after a fire at an apartment complex. The fire started around 8 o'clock last night at apartment units on Tours Court. That's near 62nd and Allisonville Road on the northeast side of town. Fire crews tell us the fire started on a second floor deck. Right now, there's no word on what caused that fire. Thankfully, though, there were no injuries reported. Well, the town of Zionsville faces a crucial vote tomorrow that could change the face of its downtown area. A previous vote on rezoning for a $40 million apartment complex and commercial development ended in a three-way tie, or a 3-3 tie, rather. There will be another vote tomorrow. Right now, Working for You's Derek Thomas explains what's at stake.
These are artist renderings of the Sycamore Flats development. It promises 184 apartments and some commercial development. But in order for it to happen, the J.C. Hart Company is asking the town council to rezone 4.3 acres of land from the Village Business District designation to facilitate the $40 million project.
We aren't anti-development and we aren't anti-apartment, but this would increase our community, our village community, by 30%. We only have 600 homes right here in the village. The traffic that it would cause, certainly the number of people that would create would be very challenging for this community.
Many of those people in the village have placed signs in their yards stating their opposition to the project. They've gone so far as to creating their own replica of what it would look like to bolster their case against it. But the owner of Bub's Restaurant welcomes the development.
There's 180 units being built, right? And that's 1-2 people units, probably, maybe 3. That's more people that are going to spend money in the community. And from a business perspective, that's what's needed. And that's what's desired. So when you invest money in the community, in your business, you want that supported.
If approved, the project would be built on the southwest corner of Sycamore and 2nd Streets. That location has doubters.
Not a good idea. Not in that location, no. It's a great concept. He's got a great reputation, just not in that location.
You don't want it here?
I don't want it in that location.
The hearing is slated for 7 o'clock Monday evening at the Zionsville Town Hall.
There is keen interest and seats will be a premium. If you want one, get here early. Derek Thomas, RTV6.
And we'll soon learn how the White River is going to be used in the future in both Marion and Hamilton counties. Tomorrow, leaders from across central Indiana will unveil the White River Vision Plan. They call it a comprehensive and community-driven proposal to enhance 58 miles of the White River in those 2 counties. Again, we're talking about Marion and Hamilton counties. The goal to transform the White River into an attraction while also focusing on the nature around it and keeping the river clean. Local leaders have checked out how other cities have developed around their rivers, like Chicago and Cincinnati. Well, if you've had trouble watching YouTube or checking your Gmail today, here's why. Google says users of YouTube and other services have been running into errors or slow performance for much of the afternoon. They say the cause was a problem with Google's cloud service that powers apps other than just Google's own web services. Now, Google blamed the problem on high levels of network congestion in the eastern U.S. The problem started around mid-afternoon, but Google says it was largely resolved by early this evening. Well, next on the news at 11, searching for clues as to why a man opened fire at the place where he worked. We'll show you some of what police have learned about the motive for that mass shooting. And straight out of a disaster movie, a massive ship out of control. Coming up, the terrifying video of what that cruise liner smashed into.
And we've still got a couple of days to get out there and get the yard work in before those rain chances are going to ramp up for the middle of the week. We'll talk about how much wet weather to expect. You're watching RTV6 News at 11.
This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
Memorials for the victims of the mass shooting in Virginia Beach continue to grow. Police are now revealing the timeline of Friday's deadly shooting rampage. But as ABC's Brian Clark tells us, most people tonight are focusing on the families of those victims.
The community of Virginia Beach coming together over the weekend to remember the victims of Friday afternoon's deadly workplace shooting.
I have worked with most of them for many years. They leave a void that we will never be able to fill.
Police say Dwayne Craddock emailed a letter of resignation hours before entering the building where he worked, armed with 2 handguns, extended magazines, and a silencer. Ned Carlstrom survived Craddock's rampage, initially thinking it was a drill because he crossed paths with the gunman 3 times.
On my way out of the building, I came across a man walking with a gun who I recognized as a co-worker from the engineering department. He made eye contact with me, but did not point the gun at me.
Keith Cox being called a hero after telling 7 co-workers to hide in an office and barricade the door while he went to check on others. It was the last time he was seen alive.
He proceeded down the hall, and there was a couple more shots, and I think that's when he hit Keith.
A motive still unclear.
We're looking as deep as we can into motives from work, personal motives, professional motives that could have happened. Right now, we do not have anything glaring. There's nothing that hits you right between the eyes.
A memorial now in place in front of the building where 5 women and 7 men lost their lives. Brian Clark, ABC News, New York.
And new developments tonight in the controversy involving the Trump administration and the USS John S. McCain. Acting Defense Secretary Patrick Shanahan now confirms the White House military office requested the ship be, quote, hidden from view during the president's recent trip to Japan. Shanahan says the directive was not carried out. He also sent a sternly worded warning to the White House to not politicize the military. The White House says President Trump was unaware of that request. And a terrifying scene in Venice, Italy today. Take a look. Tourists scrambling to get out of the way as a luxury liner slams into a dock on a major canal. Dramatic video shows the moment of impact. Sirens were wailing as the 900-foot-long MSC Opera crashed into a smaller vessel that was already docked. Now, the bigger ship apparently lost control after a steel cable attaching it to a tugboat snapped. We're told tonight at least 5 elderly tourists on the smaller boat were injured, including one American. But the good news in this story, their injuries are not described to be life-threatening. In fact, we're told those injuries were just minor. And yet another problem for Boeing tonight. The company says some of its 737 planes, including many of its grounded 737 MAX aircraft, could have faulty parts on their wings. Boeing says it reached out to airlines that fly 737 planes, advising them to inspect their slat track assemblies on MAX and NG aircraft. Leading edge slats are an aerodynamic surface control that extends from the front of the wing. Boeing and the FAA say some of the tracks may not meet manufacturing standards and would need to be replaced. Boeing is still trying to get the 737 MAX planes back in the air. As you'll recall, they've been grounded following 2 deadly crashes. Well, heading to the movies right now, Godzilla King of the Monsters is the king of the box office. The sequel brought in $49 million for its opening weekend. That's less than what experts predicted the movie would make. Following up on that, Disney's Aladdin dropped to the number 2 spot with about $42 million during its second weekend in theaters. Number 3 was Rocket Man, the biopic about Elton John, bringing in $25 million in ticket sales during its opening weekend. Well, it was a delicate surgery, and it's an extremely rare surgery at that. Allie Mullen was 20 weeks pregnant when doctors diagnosed her baby with spina bifida. The doctors decided to operate in utero to offer Allie's daughter a chance to walk, but as Mike Clark tells us, the surgery came with serious risks.
Allie Mullen takes care of critically ill boys and girls at UPMC Children's Hospital. Back in January, the pregnant pediatric intensive care nurse was wheeled into the operating room at UPMC Magee Women's Hospital, becoming the first patient in Pittsburgh to undergo in utero fetal surgery to repair spina bifida.
It's a devastating diagnosis. And for
fetal medicine specialist Dr. Stephen Emery from Magee and pediatric neurosurgeon Dr. Stephanie Green from Children's Hospital teamed up for this delicate surgery. They told me many factors made Allie the perfect first candidate, including her health and where her baby was positioned.
But I think the main factor for Allie is that she's a nurse in the PICU at Children's Hospital, and she takes care of these kids. She knows what spina bifida is.
With spina bifida, the baby's spinal cord and backbone don't close, exposing it to amniotic fluid and causing severe damage. Dr. Green says studies show babies operated on in the womb do better than waiting to have the corrective surgery after birth.
That can be the difference between not walking and walking. They had half the incidence of hydrocephalus, or water on the brain, that requires surgical treatment. And they had improvement in a radiographic condition that can sometimes cause death in infancy in these children.
If we were going to do this, we might as well do it here in Pittsburgh.
After considering the risks,
there is a bright side to all of this.
Allie focused on what was best for her baby.
This was the best decision for us. We did a lot of talking and research, and doctors and praying, and family was praying and researching and everything, and it just really it was the best decision we could have made.
That trust brought joy. 2 months later, Allie's baby arrived, kicking right away. Dr. Emery with the play-by-play.
As I looked at her toes, and she was pulling up her feet and flexing her toes, which means that there's neurologic function there. And that was a huge relief.
The first thing that came out of his mouth is she's kicking her legs, and we were all so excited.
Baby's back was completely healed, and the neurological exam looked promising.
She had normal movement in her legs, except she can't point her toes down quite all the way with one foot. To be fair, based on the anatomic level, she shouldn't have had movement below her knees. So that's fantastic.
It was awesome. It was. And then hearing Dr. Emery tell everyone who was in the OR that day that they're part of history, and they are.
A history making big sister Aniston very happy and forever tying this little peanut and her family to their doctors. Allie and Kevin named their daughter Emery Green, honoring the doctors they trusted.
It's a real honor. It's a level of gratitude that they exhibit towards us that is just very profound. You know, they named their daughter after us.
It's really emotional. It's, as Dr. Emery said, it's the highest honor I could imagine somebody giving me.
They've really made a difference in our lives, and I'm excited to see how many more lives they're going to make a difference to, too. I'm really excited. I can't wait to see all the things that she's going to do and the lives that she's going to touch.
Also tonight, the roar of the engines may have been loud, but it's going to mean a lot of help and comfort for some kids who need it most. Today, thousands of bikers revved their engines for the annual Miracle Ride for Riley Children's Hospital. This year, the bikers started at Allison Transmission, and they even got to take a lap on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It's one of the few times motorcycles are going to be allowed on the track this year. This is the Miracle Ride's 26th year, and during that time, bikers have raised more than $6.5 million for Riley kids. Great story there, and a perfect day for it out there today. A lot of sunshine, certainly what they wanted. Let's head over to Kyle to get a look at our forecast. Hey, Kyle.
Day across central Indiana, a beautiful night as well, and many of us didn't have a drop of rain this weekend, and we're going to continue that stretch for a couple more days here before things get active once again. 61 in downtown, upper 50s for you in Kokomo, and Bloomington at 63. That wind that's been a little bit breezy, it's starting to calm down a bit, and it will go pretty light during the overnight as we'll have those mostly clear skies for you. Again, 50 degrees in the city, but I think many locations will be mid to upper 40s where we will start off our Monday, but we will see a lot of sunshine, and that will help to warm things up here. We'll get back into the lower 60s already for you at 10 a.m. in your lunch hour tomorrow, upper to middle 60s and sunny skies. A few more clouds will build in during the afternoon, but I still think the sunshine wins out here, and those numbers not exactly where we should be. They're a little bit cool for this time of year, not by much. The average high is in the upper 70s, 72 for you in Frankfort. Kokomo coming in at 71 degrees Monday afternoon. You'll be at 76 in Martinsville. Newcastle, the lower 70s for you, and we'll find temperatures into the middle 70s south of Interstate 70 here. 76 for you in Spencer, Seymour, and Columbus Monday afternoon. On Tuesday, we're going to keep most of the day dry here. Just an isolated chance of a passing shower as we head into the afternoon and evening. We'll increase the clouds, though, and those temperatures will continue to warm up here a little bit more as well. We'll get back into the mid and upper 70s, but then we hit the middle of the week, and as we go Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, we'll see not only the clouds returning, but also that chance for rain. 7 a.m. on Wednesday morning doesn't look like it's going to be all that widespread at that point, but we are going to see the showers and thunderstorms start to fill back in here a little bit more, especially as we head into our Wednesday afternoon. And there, we're going to see those rain chances sticking around. About 60% Wednesday and Thursday, 70% for the end of the work week, and I do think that the rain chances will linger into next weekend. So between Wednesday and next Sunday, we're talking about widespread rainfall across central Indiana, more widespread than it was last week, ranging from about an inch to possibly 4 inches or more of rain as you make your way from north to south across the Hoosier State. So that's something we're going to watch closely because, yeah, we've had a little dry time, but still that ground is fairly saturated. Not going to take a whole lot to cause some flooding issues. 7-day planning forecast, and we see those temperatures in the 70s through Tuesday, but back in the active pattern and highs around 80 for the middle of the week.
We'll take 80, but it's going to be chilly tomorrow morning.
Yeah, may need the jacket tomorrow morning, and then by Wednesday, it's the umbrella again.
All right, stuff to keep in mind as we head into the work week. All right, Kyle, thank you. Well, day 2 of racing in Detroit, the man who won on day 1 had his race cut short. That left the door wide open for IndyCar's Iceman, an interview with the winner. Coming up next on the news at 11.
Zaxby's.
Well, the Toronto Raptors, as you saw right here on RTV6, trying to take a 2-0 lead over the mighty Warriors in the NBA Finals. Raptors look good early. Kawhi Leonard playing well, and Kyle Lowry hitting a jumper and drawing a foul. Toronto led by 5 at the half, but the Warriors came out of the locker room on fire, outscoring Toronto 34-21 in the third quarter. The Raptors got back to within 2 with less than 10 seconds left, but just couldn't pull it out. Golden State picks up the win 109-104 to even the series at 1 game apiece. Game 3 will be Wednesday night in Oakland, and again, you can watch it right here on RTV6. Well, the second phase of the Detroit Grand Prix wasn't nearly as wet as the first one, that is, except for the man who won it. Take a look. Scott Dixon picked up his 45th career IndyCar win, and his sports director Dave First shows us he promptly took the traditional celebratory dip in Scott Fountain.
Well, a victory on the streets of Belle Isle simply not complete without a dip in the pool or the fountain, Scott Fountain, really newly renovated, and now here we are. Thank you. That's what I needed. A little chilly, huh?
It's cold, man. I'm waiting for the sun to come back out and warm me up a little bit. No, yeah, they need to put a heater in this thing.
That would be nice. Yeah, that would be nice. I loved it though. Chris Simmons, Blair, they all got in.
They all jumped in. It was a huge team effort today. Well, the whole weekend, I put us in a bad position yesterday with the crash in turn 6. And, strategy. We got a little bit lucky with that one caution, but it's still going to be really tough to get the mileage that we needed to. And Honda did a fantastic job. So it doesn't matter, man. We won. We won in Detroit. It always feels good.
Here's the thing. I mean, rough go the 500. Certainly rough yesterday. You kind of needed this. I know racing doesn't owe anyone anything. But man,
it's tight. It's hard work, and especially when you've got the likes of Joseph and Rossi and Power, Hunter Ray. Like it's just tough. Every weekend with these teams now, it's just so competitive. So when you can get one of these, and it was a day where they struggled a little bit too. In points wise, we were almost 100 points out yesterday. Yeah. We just about halved it today. So we needed that to stay in the game. And going into Texas, we had a great run there last year. We're going to try and keep that rolling.
This is like a giant sponge, isn't it? I mean, you probably weigh like 250 right now.
Probably. Look at that, mate. Who cares?
It's all worth it.
We won.
It's all worth it. Career win number 45, and maybe a new fire suit by the time it's all said and done in Texas.
It's freshly washed. Look.
Congratulations.
Dave First reporting there. Also tonight, taking a look at NCAA baseball tournament. The Indiana State Sycamores are the last team from the state alive in the big dance, and they are hanging on for dear life tonight. ISU stayed alive with a win over Ohio State this afternoon. They're going to have to make a big comeback to stay alive, however. Sycamores trail regional host Vanderbilt 7-1 in the bottom of the 7th inning. That's happening in Nashville. If ISU somehow makes that comeback, they'll need to beat Vandy again tomorrow night to continue. And the Hoosiers are already coming home from the NCAA tournament. Regional host Louisville ran out to a big lead. They were up 9-5 to the 9th inning when Indiana would try to come back. They scored 2 runs and had the tying run at the plate, but they couldn't get any more. Louisville wins 9-7, ending the Hoosiers season. That's sports. Stay with us. We'll be back with one last check of your weather right after this.
Furniture and mattress store, Ashley Home Store.
All right, take a look at this story. Alexia Hicks was about to graduate from Fishers High School this weekend, but her family had to make sure she knew she had a special visitor there. And they also made sure to get a reaction on video. It's happening right there. Her brother is Navy Petty Officer Joseph Hicks. He's stationed in Spain, but he managed to make it back just in time to see his little sister graduate. The only people who knew that Joseph was coming home were their parents, Fishers Principal Jason Urban, and Hamilton Southeastern Superintendent Alan Borf. You see those stories, and every time you know exactly how they're going to end, but they never get old.
So awesome that he was able to be there for that.
And right here in central Indiana, we always see those stories coming in from all over the country.
Exactly.
But it's happening right here.
That's right. And tomorrow we got another very nice day of weather shaping up for us. A lot of sunshine coming our way. Those temperatures, yeah, they start off a little bit cool in the morning, 40s and 50s, but we'll get back into the 70s for the afternoon. And I do think pretty much all of Tuesday is going to be dry as well. Still got to stick in there that chance, though, for a spotty shower, and then rain chances ramp up and take over the rest of the forecast.
Gonna enjoy it while it lasts, Kyle. Thanks, and thank you for watching. We appreciate it. Good Morning Indiana starts tomorrow bright and early at 4:30 a.m. Have a good night, everybody.